My people, what is happening in Tanzania right now is something you cannot ignore. And the more you listen carefully, the more you begin to understand that this is not just ordinary politics. This is a situation that is slowly building, step by step. And many people are watching quietly, trying to understand where everything is heading. Now listen carefully, because this story did not just start today. Everything goes back to the last election period in Tanzania, a time when many expectations were high, many people were hopeful, and many believed things would go smoothly. But as events began to unfold, people started noticing certain patterns that did not sit well with them. Opposition voices were not as active as expected. Some candidates were not fully visible, and discussions around fairness started coming up here and there. At first, it was small conversations, nothing too loud, just people talking quietly among themselves, trying to understand what was really happening. But you know how these things work. Small talks don't stay small forever. As results started coming out, the numbers surprised a lot of people. Some areas recorded very strong wins for the ruling side, and while supporters celebrated, others began to ask questions. Not aggressive questions, just simple ones. Is everything okay? Was everything done properly? Did everyone get a fair chance? Now, my people, before I continue, if you are following this story and you like this kind of breakdown, quickly tap that like button and subscribe to this channel, because here we explain things in a way that everybody can understand. So as those questions were growing, as something else started happening. People began to gather, not everywhere, but in some key areas. Small groups of citizens started coming out to express how they felt. Some were calm, some were concerned, and some just wanted to be heard. And when people come out like that, it means there is something deeper inside. At first, it looked manageable, nothing too serious, nothing too alarming. But slowly, the situation began to change tone. Security presence increased. You started seeing more uniformed officers around important locations. Movement became more controlled. Some areas had restrictions introduced. And when you begin to see that kind of adjustment, it tells you one thing. The authorities are trying to maintain order and prevent things from getting out of hand. Now, this is where it becomes very interesting. Because once security presence increases, people begin to interpret things differently. Some see it as protection, some see it as control, and others start asking, why now? And this is how tension begins to grow, not loudly, but quietly. Now let's talk about the leadership. Samia SULUHU HASSAN came into power with a very calm image. Many people saw her as someone who listens, someone who understands, someone who would guide Tanzania in a balanced way. And for a long time, that image stayed strong. But leadership is not always easy, especially when you are handling a country with different opinions, different expectations, and different pressures coming from all sides. So as the situation began to tighten, decisions had to be made. And those decisions were not going to please everybody. Some people felt the government was doing the right thing to maintain stability. Others felt things were becoming too controlled. And once people begin to feel that way, discussions become louder. Now, listen carefully to this part. There is something about African politics that many people understand but don't always say openly. Not everything happens in the public. Some of the most important discussions happen behind closed doors. Meeting, consultations, security briefings, and sometimes what is said in those rooms never comes out directly, but its effects are seen outside. So when people begin to hear certain strong headlines or rumors, it is often because the environment itself feels tense. And that is exactly what is happening here. Now, let me remind you again, because this is important, there is no confirmed information about any direct ultimatum from the military, but the presence, the movement, and the seriousness of the situation have made people start connecting their own dots. And once people begin to connect dots, stories start forming. Some true, some exaggerated, but all coming from the same place: uncertainty. Now think about this. When citizens feel unsure, when leadership is under pressure, when security presence is high, when communication is limited, what do you expect people to start thinking? Exactly. They begin to imagine different possibilities. And that is why this story is trending. Now, before I continue, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because this kind of a real calm breakdown is not something you get everywhere. Now, let me take you deeper. There is also something else happening that many people are not paying full attention to: the role of institutions. Because in any country, it is not just about the president, it is about the entire system: the military, the police, the judiciary, and all other structures that keep the country running. And when tension rises, all these institutions become very important. People start watching them closely. What are they doing? How are they responding? Are they aligned? Are they silent? Are they active? And in Tanzania right now, one thing is clear: the system is active, security is present, control is visible, and order is being maintained. But the question is, for how long can this balance hold? Because maintaining order is one thing, maintaining trust is another, and trust is very important. Once people trust the system, things will remain calm. But once trust begins to shake, even small issues can grow bigger. Now let's look at the regional impact. Tanzania is not just any country, it is a key part of East Africa. What happens there affects Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and even beyond. Trade routes pass through Tanzania. Business connections depend on stability. Movement of people depends on peace. So when there is tension, even if it is controlled, other countries start paying attention. Quietly, carefully, because no one wants surprises. Now let me bring it back again. What we are seeing is not chaos. What we are seeing is not collapse. What we are seeing is a controlled situation under pressure. And that is the difference, because sometimes the most serious moments are not the loud ones. They are the quiet ones. The ones where everything looks calm on the surface, but underneath many things are moving. And that is why people are watching closely. Now, my people, if you are still here, you are really following this story well. So please like this video and subscribe right now, because it helps the channel grow and brings you more detailed stories like these. Now, let me ask you something. Do you think this situation will calm down fully, or do you think it will continue to build slowly? Because from what we are seeing, this is not something that will disappear overnight. It will take time. It will take decisions. And it will take understanding from all sides. Now, as things continue to unfold, one thing is certain: the leadership will have to balance strength with understanding. The citizens will continue to watch. And the region will remain alert. Because at the end of the day, stability is everyone's interest. Nobody wants tension to grow beyond control. Nobody wants uncertainty to take over. So all eyes remain on Tanzania, watching, listening, waiting. And as more updates come in, we will continue to break everything down for you in a simple and clear way. So stay connected, stay informed, and most importantly, stay calm.